We have some really exciting innovations being presented during our innovation showcase. We have some phenomenal participants here. Let me take a moment, though, just to introduce our judges. We have Rebecca, Emily, and Matt. And coming up first, we have Cato.
Our timer's going. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Boris Bogatin, co-founder and CEO of Cat.io, co-pilot for tech architecture. With me also is Adam Kirsch, who's leading product. We're a team of serial entrepreneurs and tech leaders who've all shared a deep personal problem. While finance folks and developers all have tools, CTOs, architects, developers all plan and optimize tech stacks on whiteboards and ad hoc spreadsheets. And we're changing that with Cat.io. Cat.io first allows you to integrate a number of tech stack components. So think about it as far as your AWS, Kubernetes, Prometheus, the entirety of your tech stack can be integrated. And then on the back of that, we're able to start mapping your tech stack as a live architecture. So the first module is a module called Stacks. First, we construct a full model of your tech stack and codify it. So now it lives in code. And on the back of that, we can draw a live architecture. What this allows you to do is no longer think about architecture as blueprints or architecture designs on a PowerPoint. It's always live. It's a system. You can start navigating it with a lot of ease. You can start getting a lot of rich information about every component. So it's no longer a drawing. It's now a system with components that you can introspect. You can learn all the things that you want to know. Why do you have an RDS in your architecture, and what's it doing? What functions is it serving? Is it cost performant? Do you need to change that out? Is it even the right component for you? And so on. The other thing that we're doing is we're have a multi-agent system. 31 AI agents are working together. Think about it like AI agents replicating the entirety of a tech org. Chief architect talks to a data architect, talks to a messaging architect, talks to a product retrieving AI agent, and they come up with design reviews. So they're literally spending 24/7 doing what normally consultancies would come in and do, or architects would come in and do, and evaluating how do you move your tech stack forward. What should you do? Should you change out your data pipeline? Should you improve your messaging infrastructure? This specific analysis shows you gap analysis, identifies specific components, identifies how you need to improve them in order to meet your business requirements, and so on. One more thing. Today, we're also announcing our upcoming launch of Archie. Archie is a conversational multi-agent AI agent. So now you're going to be able to start talking to your architecture. How do I improve my security posture? Get answers about that. Be able to see where in your architecture are there issues as far as this specific security vulnerability. You'll also be able to ask advice. So not only prescriptive advice, but reactive advice as far as how do I perform a cost optimization? Where do I find some additional opportunities for that? AI agent is going to surface that. It's going to identify the business impact that has. So think about every single tech architecture decision, recommendation, having a true business impact to ROI. So you can start really planning and optimizing exactly what you're trying to do, what you're trying to design with your architecture with Cat.io.
All right. Congratulations. Great job, guys. Give them a round of applause one more time, folks.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to our illustrious judges who have a few questions for you.
All right, perfect.
Hi. Is the data primarily config-based? Here. Hi.
Okay.
Or are there also kind of like runtime that you can add in terms of logs, so you can actually ask, not only is this configured this way, but it's actually being used, and here's the empirical load, and here's actually what happens, because in a lot of cases, I can imagine you don't really know your specs. Or if you do, there's a huge delta between in architecture when I've done it, what you think is happening or should happen and what's actually happening. So I'm curious to understand that a little bit more, but a very cool product.
Yeah, thank you. So all of the above and sources that you didn't even mention, like source code. So we're actually not reading source code today, but yes, we use configuration. Yes, we use all kinds of different logs, aggregated, collected, and source code gives us an even greater depth into how do things interact, what are the true ground truth dependencies, and so on.
But it's live, meaning none of this is like dated by months or anything like that. It's as live as you want it to be.
How do you envision who your ideal end user is? Like, who are you designing this for? Is it for an architect? Is it for a broader population of software developers within the enterprise? What's the ideal user persona? It's
a great question. We've started selling into CIOs, CTOs, tech leadership. But the reality of it is that a lot of the usage that they intend for this to be done is by their teams. So they want to propagate down. One of the powerful things about this is that this notion of global local. So think about this. What if the CTO and CIO can actually set the global architecture requirements? Today, that's almost impossible for any enterprise to carry forth organizational mandates down, because the developers need designs that are bespoke to them. And so naturally, you get a very fragmented tech stack for Comcast, like big companies, right? And so now you're able to set those global requirements, and a hierarchical AI agent system is able to provide very bespoke recommendations and designs for any given developer, payments module, shopping cart module, developers that carry through the architecture guidelines all the way from top. So the CTOs, CIOs are who are buying it, and then they're trying to equip the whole orgs because they have the imperative.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have
Thank
for
you.
questions for this team. Give them a round of applause.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, coming out next, we have Hema from Kumo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hema, and I'm from Kumo.ai. Kumo is founded by me, Yure, and Vanya, and together we have nearly 30 years of experience across the valley in companies like LinkedIn, Airbnb, and Pinterest, and we've been building experiences through search and recommender systems that you're all familiar with today. We started Kumo to bring the transformer revolution to predictive AI. And what do I mean by predictive AI? It powers all your experiences today, from whether you get a notification that tells you that there's a discount on some grocery item, to when you go check out and you see co-purchase recommendations. When you swipe your credit card, a decision system is making a decision whether this is a fraud transaction or not. And then when you're being matched to a shopper, there is a matching algorithm that determines who's the best fit for you at that time, and perhaps a decision on whether to give that person an incentive. But all these models take tons of time to build, and we wanted to make this really easy. And especially with the agentic revolution that's coming, we foresee a universe where these have to be just so easy to access, just like ChatGPT does. You can have AI agent assistants, your fitness apps, your Netflix, your news, all of that is personalized. And how do we make personalization so much more easier? So we started Kumo with that. And really, we're attacking the other side of intelligence. We've gotten really good at knowledge, but experience and good decision-making is also part of intelligence. And how do we empower that? Today, our digital experiences, the past, is all captured, siloed in data warehouses. And how do we make good decisions on that was what motivated Kumo. To that end, we've invented Kumo RFM, which is a relational foundation model. Just like you know about attention mechanisms that happen across language and images, we have an attention mechanism that goes across your entire data warehouse. And this is what it looks like. We have a demo on our website today, and it's zero-shot learning. So you can plug in your data warehouse, and you can actually start asking it questions like, is a user going to churn? Is a user going to have a transaction in the next 30 days, 90 days? So these are all forward-looking questions where you would have spent hours, if not days, building models. And we have explainability. So this is all going to become low code and easy to use with our upcoming launch on July 7th, where we'll make it accessible through an SDK. So that's
Great job,
just
Hema. Sorry, we have to cut there.
Yes.
We have a strict 3-minute timeline for this, so give her a round of applause.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go to our judges. I'm happy we're starting with you since I cut you off last time. Go ahead.
Hi. Curious how you're thinking about what's when you're selling to customers who already have existing databases, vendors that they're using, like what are you selling them to, like budgets and like the type of use cases?
Yeah, so we already have deep integrations in data warehouses like Snowflake and Databricks, so people can actually install Kumo today on the marketplace, and it's a co-sell. There's a part of a license fee that comes to us, and there's compute cost that goes to the warehouses. So hope that answers the question.
Kind of how large, or what's the bottom cutoff? I'm assuming like most companies do not have that much data. So when does this stop becoming useful for smaller companies or size of data, and kind of how big do you need to be before there's real ROI and kind of the model's actually good in practice?
So our foundation model is trained on large number of synthetic tabular data. And so in context, to do that zero-shot prediction, you need only around 10,000 examples, and you're good to go. So we actually see this as bringing AI. If you're building a new app and you'll use a low-code system like Lovable, but you need some decision-making system to power the recommendations, Como would be that back-end engine.
In terms of the customers you're engaging with, are you building models for net new use cases, or are you looking to displace models that your customers may already have built for existing use cases? I'm thinking through a lot of the examples you showed, like transaction fraud models or predictive models in an e-commerce context. A lot of those customers in those spaces may already have models that they're using today. So just curious how you're engaging with them from a go-to-market standpoint.
Yeah, so
Sorry, but we're out of time. One more time. Give her a round of applause, folks. My pleasure. All right. Coming up next, we have Keith from Solo.io.
There we go. Hi, hey everyone. My name is Keith Babbo. I'm the CPO of a company called Solo.io. The next question for most people is, who's Solo.io? And so let me tell you briefly. We are a company that does cloud native infrastructure. We have the privilege of working with hundreds of customers that drive the digital experiences you use on a daily basis, whether that's traveling through the airport or using your credit card or buying a phone or ordering fast food. All of these experiences run our infrastructure underneath the covers. This position, honored position with these customers, have given us a $1 billion valuation as a company, which is great, but more importantly, it gave us a unique perspective in this market and the problems that platform teams deal with, okay? The situation today is that platform teams are highly over-leveraged. Best case scenario, you have like a 1 to 25 ratio between platform teams and developers. Those developers are constantly creating software. These platform teams are fighting fires and moving from one urgency to another. What happens when the population of software creators and software developers themselves become insanely more efficient, 10x efficient, with the help of Copilot, Windsurf, and Cursor? It drowns these platform teams. What are the tools at the platform layer that are going to help these platform teams scale, because they're not going to go hire 25x more platform team members to keep up? At Solo, we recognize this gap in the cloud-native ecosystem where all our customers are, and it had not been addressed at all for the platform teams. The developer teams had been addressed, but not the platform teams. We saw this opportunity and open source a core framework we were working on to help these teams build agents, build tools, and integrate them for platform engineering workflows. We donated it to the CNCF as open source. This project has taken off. In 3 months, over 100 contributors from some of the leading organizations in the CNCF. Let me just walk you through what could be a common workflow that you could use. This can be used for incident response, cluster upgrades, rolling deployments, or application A/B testing. But in this scenario, our platform engineer is working within the confines of their IDE and using an agent to drive an incident response. They acknowledge an event, and the agent immediately gets to work. That agent then uses the tools and agents that we've configured in the IDE to go do the investigation to generate Prometheus charts and Grafana charts, to scrape the logs and form an insight on what the root cause of this issue might be. That root cause then is reported to the human, and the human is in the loop the entire time to acknowledge progress and even identify that root cause and maybe a diff in a file that can be changed to address this. Now, humans never work alone in this process. They're always in a Slack channel with other responders collaborating on an issue. We can tap into that Slack context and those conversations, inject them into the context of the resolution path, and then publish an RCA update when the issue is resolved. All right. That was a quick intro on what we're doing. There's a much bigger story. Please visit us in the Cajun community and help us build the future of cloud native infrastructure.
All right, folks, give it up one more time for Keith from Solo.io. Over to the judges.
Curious how you think about the tech stack for this agent in terms of like what part of it do you want to build in-house versus using like LLM that's open source or closed source, and that's what's driving the value here.
Yeah, great question. So there's two levers here. The first and the original lever was open source. So CNCF has hundreds of open source projects there that help these teams. They're the tools that these teams use on a daily basis. We don't compete with the model providers or anything like that. We're leveraging open source and proprietary models at the core of these agents. We're bringing the tools as MCP tool servers together and then implementing agents with those tools to solve these workflows.
I was curious for how much you see kind of human in the loop right now versus actually automating most platform work, because platform people are expensive.
Totally. And they're already overworked, and literally just helping them keep pace is going to be a win in this market. And beyond that, if you can get them more effective and they can actually get to design work and documenting their architectures, that's even better. What we see right now is that absolutely what Andrew said earlier and Varun and everybody, augment humans with their existing workflows, find gains, build trust in those workflows, and then look to get more agency and autonomous activity after that.
Can you share a little bit about your business model and how you're thinking about pricing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a couple of models here. One is we sell an enterprise platform already in our cloud infrastructure, which has an annual subscription. It's based off of, based on units of work, like API calls, for example, or number of services. For in this model, what we're looking at is packaging that up into like an aggregate of token costs that we come on top of that as a measure, as a unit of value, basically, into that the consumption, I should say, of our agents and tools.
All right, folks, give it up for Keith from
Thank you very much.
Solo.io. You judges are tough. You're harder than Shark Tank, just saying. Next up, we have Timu from superduper.io. Take it away.
Thanks. All right, our platform enables anyone to create and manage custom agents for their work easily without any technical experience, and I'm going to show you how quickly, right? After deploying our platform, you get this admin dashboard, and this is where you manage the integrations with your existing databases and your various tools and systems. I'll quickly show you a couple of them. And you then create agents for your different teams and use cases simply by defining what data and tools each agent is allowed to access, right? Each agent then comes with this is a bit tricky, its own end-user interface, which looks like this. And here we have two main functionalities, agent chat and agent tasks. Agent chat is a familiar chat interface, which allows you to pretty much answer even the trickiest questions about your data and to perform complex tasks on the fly, right? The big difference is that the agent not only provides an accurate answer, but also references the relevant data used in each response, whether these are specific paragraphs in your documents, in your contracts, for example, like in this case, or specific database queries, allowing you to reference and validate the original source data, right? Let's quickly look at agent tasks, because this is where you can delegate real work to your agent simply by describing the task in plain natural language, right? That's all you need to do, right? Your agents can not only work autonomously on a schedule, but also they can detect and act on specific events, like incoming data, whether it's a new document, customer support request, a new log message, or any other update in your system. In this case, I want my agent to perform a fraud detection on every new order. Right, and what makes this system so powerful is that I can instantly validate whether my instructions actually yield the desired outcome by applying the task configurations to existing data and past events. And this is what we call a backtest. In this case, it's the last 5 orders, right? And the system instantly presents me with the work results of the agents, allowing me to assess whether I'm happy with them, or if I need to go back to my task instructions to refine them and provide more guidance. And this system allows me to iterate it with maximum efficiency. And now by being able to chain multiple tasks together to actually build even the most complex workflows while providing safe guardrails to my agent for each step. To sum it up, think of this as an assistant who's an expert in every domain and who knows all my data, and all I need to do is simply describe what I want to know and what I need to get done.
All right, folks, give it up one more time for Timu from superduper.io. Judges, are you ready?
Yes.
Go for it.
This feels like a very, sorry, right here.
Sorry, yeah.
No worries. This feels like a very horizontal platform.
Right.
So how do you think about competition with like very vertically focused agents? Because it seems like it can apply to any domain or vertical.
Yes, I think for big organizations, tool fragmentation is already a big problem, right? And if you look at databases, right, and data infrastructure, they are horizontal. And the question is, of course, kind of verticalized solutions might provide a lot of value for specific use cases, but democratizing the use of agents and providing the domain experts, the business user, and those are the ones who have basically, they know the requirements, and to provide them with an interface so that they can implement and adopt agentic AI without requiring support from engineering, it's a massive, win.
How do you think about doing customer training, given that approximately 100% of the population not in this room sucks at prompting and doesn't understand AI? So how do you think about the fact that, is it going to be batteries included? Is there a very strong like DevRel CS motion? How do you think about kind of getting the outcomes they want for your customers?
Yeah, I think that the system we've built, being able basically to validate and iterate quite quickly and basically be presented with the work results immediately is already kind of a big step into that direction. And I think, you know, blue-collar workers, at least in the near future, they will be able to operate at least on a basic level. I think when you ask the people here, I mean, of course, this is kind of the elite. Everybody uses ChatGPT for at least privately, and I think, yeah, of course, when you combine DevRel, but a little bit kind of the social evolution of AI use, then it will work out. And we've been seeing, you know, people work with this right out the gate. Pretty confidently.
Since you're giving AI access to...
So sorry, folks. That's all the time we have for questions. I promise I'm not doing it on purpose. Round of applause for Timu. All right, next up, we have Tom from Sutro. Give him a round of applause. That's the energy we like.
Hey, I'm Tom. I sold my previous company to Twitter, and now I'm building Sutro. At Sutro, we're building a platform to help bring your tech stack to the AI era. It's 2025, and internal tech stacks are a massive mess. The average company uses 112 SaaS apps, spending $5.6 thousand per employee, of which almost half of the licenses go completely unused. What might this look like? Well, the average company would have various tools. They would have some knowledge bases, CRM, communication tools, process-specific tools. But these don't even properly communicate with each other. Or if they do, it's going to be through pretty flimsy integrations or just manual human processes. And as we've seen, so much of that goes completely unused. Now, there is an alternative. You could ask your internal IT team to build some of those tools for you rather than keep buying new SaaS tooling. But you very quickly realize that it's probably going to be quite expensive and probably take quite a while with huge IT backlogs. Now, at Sutro, we strongly believe there has to be a better way. Imagine an environment where the company brings their databases, the necessary integrations, and the security and compliance rules that every internal tool needs to follow. And then any internal employee could come in and in minutes build up new internal tooling while the environment guarantees smooth integrations and at the same time guarantees compliance with the security and compliance rules. Now, that's exactly what we're building at Sutro. And I'll give you a quick flavor of what that feels and looks like. Basically, you land on a software which asks what it is that you want to build. Even a very non-technical person can explain what they want to build. And then we have AI do the work of the world's best designers and product managers to really suss out the requirements, figure out the structure, and verify the structure and requirements with the user, and figure out the data that it needs to use, how it should be using them, and what kind of new data structures it might need. And within minutes, you have a fully built, tailored internal tool which you can continue using and improving while the environment makes sure that you haven't violated any security or compliance rules. Now, we're launching this new B2B version of our platform in the next few weeks, so please do sign up for our waitlist or reach out to me directly if you would like to be a beta tester or design partner, and we will help bring your tech stack to the AI
All
era.
right, folks, give it up one more time for Tom from Sutro. Judges, over to you.
So you mentioned security and compliance a few times. Can you share a little bit more on how you're able to achieve that and ensure that the applications that are being built are permissioned appropriately?
Totally. This stems from a bunch of my academic background, where I was doing all sorts of like formal verification methods and all sorts of like compiler and AI tooling. And really, there are two main ways how to do guarantees in software. The first one is formal verification methods, where you look at the code and you could do all sorts of like mathematically interesting stuff to validate that certain requirements are actually implemented. Or what you can do is prove by construction, where you give the LLMs like a limited subsets of languages or frameworks that they are allowed to use, so that you can guarantee that certain things will not happen. Basically, we use combinations of these to make sure that many of these rules are followed.
How do you envision developers use this in conjunction with like some of the viral tools out there, like Lovable, Bolt, V0, Cursor, Windsurf?
The difficulty of many of these tools, especially in the prototyping space, like some of the ones which you mentioned, is that they don't give you a guarantee for anything. Famously, there was a dude who went viral for hacking like the top 10 lovable built apps in like his lunch break, right? We're trying to do a tool which actually will not only give a high chance that it will work, but will actually guarantee the compliance.
Of what size organization do you view as your initial ICP, both for size kind of in industry?
So we're seeing interest from both. We're now serving like mid-sized companies, but we're starting to see more and more pull from some of the bigger players, over 1,000 employees.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for questions. Give one more round of applause for Tom. Great job. Once again, that's Tom from Sutro. Coming up next, we have Manuel from Quadrant. Give him a round of applause.
Hi there. Over the last days here at VentureBeat Transform, we talked a lot about how we're moving from the first phase of Gen AI with chatbots and copilots to multi-step real-time AI agents that act, adapt, and reason. And demos are looking great, but there's one problem. A lot of AI agents actually fail in production. As they progress into tasks, they start to forget, they're losing information of prior tasks. With that, they're starting to make bad decisions and ultimately hallucinate as or when it actually matters most. So what's the real issue? A lot of people might suspect it's the models that the agents are powered with, but most of the times it's actually retrieval. Agents don't have real-time context, they don't have any reliable memory, and if we're thinking about the environment that they're operating in, enterprise data is very fragmented. Think docs, PDFs, chats, calls. This is all very hard, like data that's hard to search through, and that takes time. Latency kills context, and then without context, the reasoning actually starts to fail. But there's a solution, which is vector search. And vector search really is the long-term memory of agents and provides them real-time access to data that they can rely on. And that's exactly what we're building at Quadrant. We're the leading open source vector database and search engine built for the next gen of AI applications. We have over 60,000 community members, over 250 million open source downloads across all our packages. And what's unique about Quadrant is we're natively built for vector search. And our goal is to have the most performant, scalable vector search engine out there with the deepest features. And that allows us to equip these agents with vector-powered memory, so we can give them contextual, multimodal data, and we can ground them in that context. We're also equipping them with precise context retrieval through semantic search, advanced metadata filtering, hybrid search for really accurate answers. Our native design, we're Rust-powered, and we have unique features like GPU-accelerated indexing, and with that, we can search through billions of vectors in millisecond speed. Beyond that, you can run Quadrant in the cloud, on-premise, or even on the edge for physical AI agents. We have a lot of enterprises that trust us with their AI agents. For example, TripAdvisor powers their AI trip planning tool with Quadrant, ingesting billions of user reviews and images. HubSpot is powering their AI assistant, Breeze AI, with Quadrant for personalized contextual answers. And Deutsche Telekom powers their multi-agent platform with Quadrant that supports over 2 million conversations in a month. And we're taking it a step further. Today, we're previewing Cloud Inference, Quadrant Cloud Inference, and that will let you actually combine inference and
All
search.
right, that's all the time we have. Give Manuel one more round of applause. All right. So judges, we know you have questions. Go ahead and get started.
Yeah, there are obviously a number of different companies in this broader space around, vector databases, vector search. Why do customers choose you guys?
Yeah, it's a very crowded space, so to say. There's traditional databases that are adding on vector search capabilities. There's native vector databases. What's unique about us, or maybe to start with, vectors as a data type is a very unique data type. It's very memory and compute intensive. Vectors are heavy. And there's also certain criteria or characteristics of vectors that you can take advantage from. So that's why we have a dedicated architecture that's built natively around vectors. And that's what actually lets us, or leads us to high performance, scalability, and we can build features beyond the traditional vector search that, that others that are trying to bolt on the solution can't do. And the truth is also with vector search workloads, every vector search workload is very different. So some need to be super fast, some need to be very accurate. For some, it matters if they're cheap, others it doesn't matter. And we have a lot of features built around the vector search that really lets you customize your use case and address it to the specific use case that you want and the demands that you have.
Is there anything specific for agents as opposed to, it sounds like you have a great vector database, it's got great performance. There are other companies that do vector databases overall for that. Is there anything special to agents, or is it more just we have a really good vector database and you can also use it for agents?
Yeah, vector databases have a lot of different use cases, traditional search, anomaly detection. We have traditional RAG use cases, recommendation systems, and then now agents. I think the very interesting part about agents is that real time matters a lot, and then also a lot of multimodal data. So we're not just like talking text, we're like trying to search through a lot of
All right,
data.
folks, that's all the time we have.
Thank you.
Give it up one more time. All right, now our last presentation today is from CTGT. Give it up for Cyril.
Hi, my name is Cyril from CTGT, and today I'd like to talk to you about how you can make trustworthy AI that improves itself. A large part of this conference has been about the AI doom loop, which is what I like to call it, when you have a lot of CapEx going towards AI investments in the enterprise, but unfortunately a lot of these don't pan out. Like J&J just canceled hundreds of Gen AI pilots because they didn't really pan out, and a lot of it is down to these statistics, right? They don't really deliver ROI because there's no fundamental trust in these systems. And this is perhaps there's no better example of this than the DeepSeek movement, right? Where we had sensitive queries that were given to this model and it just would refuse to give a response, right? How do you fix this? So there's two main methods that people use to customize AI models when you have problems with trust and safety or an application-specific need. You can fine-tune or you can prompt engineer and RAG, right? So fine-tuning involves actually retraining the model's weights. You're actually forcing new data down it, basically down it. Or prompt engineering and RAG, which essentially changes what the model has access to when you have a query. So both of these methods are sort of inefficient and brittle. And we think that there's a better way to do this, right? So what if you could actually, like our brain, think about how the model stores different features and then block those features or raise them as needed. That's actually exactly what we did with DeepSeek. So if you look at what we do with our technology, we basically remove the censorship. And so now in real time, without fine tuning, without prompt engineering, we actually modify the model's features. And so this gave us a lot of coverage. But how does this actually work in practice, right? What do companies actually use this for? Here's what a Fortune 20 financial institution has deployed with us. We have this email compliance workflow, right? Where essentially analysts can type in their email content. And what we're doing in the back end is we're actually training the models to understand specifically for this analyst what it should catch, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And so you can see they can mouse over any of that. And this is powered by our back end that finds all the features that are responsible for this company, right? So we'll go into the knowledge base here and you'll get an example of this. Basically, these are documents that the company has uploaded or a user can upload. And this actually in real time effectively customizes the model based on these documents of the company. So it's not, you're not just throwing GPT at it and like one-shotting it. This is actually gets you to 3 nines, 4 nines at performance. Another use case that they deployed is brand alignment, right? So how can your marketers more effectively develop copy that works well? Here's an example, right? So similar principle, again, in their back end, we're actually intervening on the features of these models. We're boosting the features that are most relevant to a particular brand guideline, right? And the effect of that is when you copy and paste stuff in, you can see in the content checker that you can click any of these different options, and it'll tell you personalized advice on why a specific turn or phrase is good for this, why a specific turn or phrase is bad, and what you can do to improve it. Right? So this saves companies, if a company has 900 Gen AI use cases, they no longer have to fine tune 900 models. We're model agnostic and platform agnostic, so they can just plug us in like that. And I think I have 5 seconds left, so I'll just keep talking for 3 more seconds, and now we're done.
Give it up for Cyril from CTGT. All right, judges, you know what to do.
Assuming you require open weights for this or not?
Open weights, but we can also do a lighter version of it that still separates the model from the actual customizations on API-based models. So you get that benefit either way.
So from a compliance standpoint, there's obviously regulation and policy, but there's also interpretation, which may differ depending on the customer. So how do you align your performance with a specific customer's interpretation?
We go extremely deep with each of our customers. We'll do on-site deployments. We will have SMEs from our side and their side that know, for example, for the financial services domain, what's sort of the jargon in this domain, how should things be interpreted, and we incorporate stakeholders in that way, and that actually that factors into the human feedback that makes these policies work in our platform.
I feel like the hard part about this type of product is proving ROI to your customers.
Yeah.
I think it's the same case with like AI security companies.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of them have been acquired, all of that. So curious how you're thinking about
Yeah,
that.
in the first week of our deployment with one of the leading AI-powered insurers, we saved $5 million of liability from them from miscoding. That's just one example. I think the way that you deliver ROI is you have to think about the problem you're solving, right? Being a solution in search of a problem, there's a lot of AI tools like that, but we have to remember that the most value out of AI is often in these high-risk use cases, and when we drive adoption, giving people more equitable access to loans or giving people better access to healthcare, where most of our customers lie, I think those regulated industries, it's easier to show ROI because there are either very harmful financial legal risks that you're protecting against, or you're giving people more access to tools where they wouldn't have before. Right, thanks.
All right. One more round of applause for Cyril from CTGT. And one more round of applause for all of our contestants for the Innovation Award Showcase. Okay, so now we're going to take a moment and give our judges time to get the results together. While they're doing that, I'm coming down into the audience. So those of you that are introverts, you might want to run now. I really want to hear how you guys are doing and what you've thought so far about Transform. Who wants to be first? You know I was coming over to you. You were smiling at me. What's your name?
Oh, I'm Pavio.
How's it going for you so far? Did you enjoy the 2-day experience here?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of compressed insights. So my brain is full.
That's amazing. That's what we want for all of you. Full brains, big brain activity here. Coming over here. How's it going, sir? Are you enjoying your time here?
Yes, I am. Lots of enterprise related info, which is very great. And I especially loved Sutro's presentation. So
Awesome. Are you on the Sutro team? Just say no. All right. Non-biased there. How are we doing back here? What's going on with you? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. My name's Dan.
Dan, what has been your Transform experience so far?
I think it's been really nice. I think well-run, efficient talks, as well as a nice combination of networking and roundtables. And I enjoyed the workshop yesterday as well. So, yeah, lots of information, very interactive.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you. What workshop was it that you attended?
It was the one in the morning about building agents.
Great. James, you know I'm coming over to you, even though you work for VentureBeat. How's it going?
Oh, that's not fair at all, is it? It's going great. It's going fantastic.
Thanks, James. How's it going over here? You actually won an award for Women in AI. I loved your speech. What was that last line you had again about build it? What was that?
I think it was build it, let it, go for it.
That's amazing. Give her a round of applause one more time, folks. How we doing, judges? Still tabulating? All right, we'll keep it going. Gonna come over to you. How are things going for you?
Pretty good. Learned a lot.
What was your name?
Monsi.
Monty, what company are you with?
I'm with Salonis.
Awesome. So you said it's been a good experience so far?
I would say so, yeah.
What's been your favorite part?
I mean, I think just learning how everything is really shifting from this software development lifecycle perspective to now agent-centric development. So I really enjoyed May's session, especially this morning, CEO of Writer, and how she sort of explained, what are the different components that we need to think about as we're making this shift.
Yeah, that was awesome. I really loved May's session too. I felt bad that I had to cut her off, but there was so much knowledge and value there. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
What's your name?
I'm Tanvi, and
What's been your favorite part so far?
my favorite part was the roundtable with Shiva Priya, and really loved how she spoke about the top-down approach for integrating AI.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, coming down here. How are you, sir? How's it going?
Doing well. Yeah.
Brian, right?
Brian, that's right.
Earlier.
Yeah. Really doing great.
Brian, did you have any standout sessions?
I enjoyed the Women in AI panel this morning. I found that really thought-provoking. A lot of good ideas. So.
Yeah. Any other sessions that stood out to you?
I also enjoyed the agents session this morning, I can't recall her name, from Atlassian.
Oh, yes.
Ran it. That was well done, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so they tell me we have the totals in. We know who's won. Are you sending texts? Don't cheat. All right, I'm coming up here to Alia to get these results. Who do we have first? All right, coming out to hand off the awards, we have Matt Marshall. Give it up, folks. All right, for best presentation style, we have CTGT. Come on out, Cyril. Where are you at? It looks like we lost him. He's in the back. Oh, no. Here we go. Give it up one more time. CTGT. Head over there for Matt. All right. Congratulations, you can pop off. Thank you. And now for coolest tech, we have, drum roll please. Not clap, drum roll, there we go. Catio. Great job, guys. Join Matt center stage. We're going to do a quick photo op. That thing is rapid fire, Michael. All right. And last, but certainly not least, for our most likely to succeed, I can't read that. Can you, Matt?
Sola.
Solti?
Sola, right?
Sola. There we go, Sola. Come on out, Keith. Congratulations. Pose for the photo. Don't make them laugh. All right, one more time for all of our Innovation Showcase Award winners. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for you for Transform 2025. We hope these past 2 days have been super valuable for you. We hope you've gotten a lot from this. Give yourselves a round of applause for lasting to the very end. We appreciate you. And make sure you keep visiting VentureBeat.com. Thank you.